and I guess Jesus is reminding me of all that and saying that uh, you're as close as you want to be.
Wow.
If you just try to work on thinking godly things, on loving people, on taking care of people, on if you find yourself angry or resentful to change that in yourself, just as if that's the part of yourself that's a child that needs to be reminded, don't do that.
Right.
That's how he's saying we can get closer to God.
Mhm. Yeah. That was
And I think he's saying once you're doing that, once you can really do that, control or not express, not even feel anger and jealousy and all those things,
mhm.
then there's the next step. Then you kind of get closer to God, but it's not something I would understand right now.
Yeah.
But I, at least, and maybe you're still at the level where we're learning to overcome the simple negative emotions.
Right.
And there's so many. I can even at 6, I can name a lot. Being jealous and angry, and
Mhm.
just
So, is that our purpose on earth to learn how to deal with these emotions?
he says a very that's a big part of what we're here for. But he said, um, yeah, you started asking how do you get closer to God, I think, or John. Ruth did. She always does. And first of all, you have to be able to control your own emotions. I mean, that there's other things too. You have to have compassion for people, and you have to be able to tune in to things around you. There's many things, but the first things are, and people spend lifetimes doing this, controlling your own emotions, not ignoring them, not repressing them, but being aware of them and controlling them. We want to get close to God. We have to be aware of them,
Yeah.
of when we're angry, when we're jealous,
Right.
when we're depressed, anything,
Uh-huh.
and and be willing to let it go.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good. Thank you.
I think he's saying, and I think I've experienced this, that when you're willing to let it go, it leaves you less and less. You don't get
Uh-huh.
you get angry less and less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah. It seems like sometimes the emotion of anger becomes a sort of habit.
Well, also, yeah, it also there's something that uh, anger itself you can turn to motivation to do good, but some people just kind of hold on to their anger. It
Yeah.
makes them feel powerful.
Right. Right. Good. Does Jesus have any advice for people who are living in a time of a lot of anger? What should we do?
I think there's some. I think Jesus is saying there's some anger in his time too. He's got the priests and the Roman soldiers. There's when you read these stories in history, they're pretty bland, but it's not too different from in your own time. In your own time right now, your time and place, people are expressing the anger a lot more. It was there 20 years ago, or other times they just weren't allowed to express it. And expressing it isn't that, it makes them feel powerful. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't get you closer to God.
So, what should we do in regard to these people's anger? How should,
To deal with the anger.
yeah, the
To,
anger of others? Mhm.
well, at least I think what he's saying is you speak to them in gentle words, like you're modeling for them, because some people don't know how to do anything but be angry. You're role modeling that there's a different way to deal with their anger.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it's up to them if they want to learn a different way, or if they're at least that's what I'm seeing now. I don't know if I'm popped back into my own head or
Mm-hmm. Well,
Jesus. Go ahead.
sorry, it sounds like what Jesus is saying is that we should be an example, but it really isn't up to us. That person has the free will to change, and they will change or they will not. Is that right?
Yeah, you're saying it better than he's telling me, but I don't. It's getting filtered through my own understanding.
Mhm.
Yes, you said it
Good.
very well. You can't change that.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, but I think what's shocking to people now, I'm not, I started out here as Ruth, but I'm more like channeling my brother, that, uh, what was I going to say? That you can't control other people. And you asked about Judas. It wasn't just Judas. Several people wanted Yeshua. They knew his powers, and they just assumed he has to be the one that God is sending to save them all and to take over and subdue the Romans.
Hmm.
Uh, and it was hard for him to explain, and some of them just didn't want to hear it. That that's not his purpose at all. In fact, his purpose, as we know, was to just preach and demonstrate love, and then to be killed, tortured, and killed.
Right. Hmm.
Uh, Very different from what we want and expect. And
So it sounds like those people like Judas were political. They took his words to have a political meaning, and that was not his goal. It was to change the way people treated each other, not change the politics or the power. Is that accurate?
yeah, Judas. I think. Remember, I said Judas and Yeshua were really close, and I don't see what what they have in common.
Mhm.
I think they were close. They had a lot of the same beliefs, but Judas wanted to do good, and he felt like Yeshua could do it, but he needed a little kick, a little push,
Uh-huh.
because he misunderstood what Yeshua was, and Yeshua knew where he was coming from. Ruth, even at 6, I am learning to not let people know where he is, not let him know not say that he's my brother, because people already want to hurt him, because he seems to have power to heal. He does have power to heal,
Mhm.
and they don't like. They feel like the goodness is showing them up
Ah, yes. Again, you've
very
answered.
much. Pardon?
Again, you've answered my question. My question was why? Why do people use his words but go in the directions that they choose?
Well, they know what they want, and they think it's easy to somehow throw his name in, uh,
Hmm.
and let others think that they're right because they're followers of Jesus.
Hmm.
I don't think I don't think Yeshua ever foresaw all that would happen now.
Right.
How this would be maybe he did. Did you? Did you know there would be a religion? I don't think so. He knew that he had an unusual purpose,
Right. But
but I don't.
he didn't,
Okay.
if you could ask him, he did not foresee the future of the world with him in this particular religion.
Yeah, I don't think the world is for what he's conveying to me. The world hasn't changed much. It's the same.
Yes.
But this particular religion, there's some good in it, but too much bad in it. A lot of using his name
Mhm.
so the Romans could control people. I
Right.
mean, they took they took away us. They took away me, Ruth. He couldn't have brothers and sisters, and his mother had to be a virgin. I mean, I guess I've been thinking about this stuff too.
Yeah.
They they talk about Jesus, but they don't want to really know about Jesus. I guess that's it.
Yeah. So, are there other, what things would he like us to know that have been taken out of the text, for example?
Oh, this entire book.
Yeah. What book is that?
No, he didn't write any of those texts either. He never wrote anything.
Right. Right.
You're still talking to, Ruth with Yeshua, but he never wrote any books.
Mhm.
He never he talked about love,
Yeah.
but it was love in the moments, and the things he had to use as examples.
Mhm.
How to love each other,
Yeah.
how to take care of people. Yeah, he's telling me because I wasn't really with him when he was doing that.
Yeah.
But I think he's been telling me that he's just talking about love.
Right.
He didn't talk about an organization or, you know, priests or celibacy or
Mhm. Yeah.
rules or churches. Or he didn't talk about any of that ever.
He just spoke about love.
Right? He spoke, yeah, yeah,
Beautiful.
and demonstrated it.
What does
He didn't just talk about it.
what does Jesus, what can he tell us about sin? So for example, we have developed a world, a religion even, which talks a good deal about sin. What does he mean? What does he think about this?
I think he's saying that in general, sin is just lack of understanding,
Hmm.
or lack of understanding, or the wrong understanding.
Yeah. So there's a story in the Bible about how Jesus defended a prostitute. And he said, according to our texts, let he who has not sinned throw the first stone. Did he really have that experience? And did he say those words?
That was very close to something that not the exact thing, but yes, close.
Uh-huh. Can he
But
tell?
he was trying to demonstrate love and forgiveness.
Right, right. Uh-huh. And
And, she has to pay, but she had to pay within the rules of the religion, another religion that, that
uh-huh,
made a lot of rules.
uh-huh. So what can you say a
I'm
little?
I'm kind of asking him, do we have to have religions? And he said, well, that he was also somebody else, Zarathustra or somebody like that. But he and Melchizedek. But he said and I've learned this, but he said that it's almost like they have the person who comes and explains all, Buddha, they're different people. But then in order to try to hold on to their teachings, that's how they end up with religions.
Right. Yeah.
It's wanting to hold on to exactly what they said and to practice it. But then, of course, people come along who see benefits for themselves. And all these people everybody's trying to be humble and loving, and well, what's that guy's name? Trump. I'm Trump. I come along and tell them, uh, yes, I'll help you. I'll organize all this so you can be loving. Something like that. I mean, we're laughing, making fun of it, but it seems to always grow into religion, and then the religions attract
Hmm.
people with flaws.
Hmm. Well,
Every religion. Uh,
just it seems that in our time there are people who are religious, and perhaps they even start with good intentions, but maybe they lose their path. If I were to meet someone who is a member of a religion but has strayed from this path, and I want to remind them of the true words of Christ, how can I do this?
think right now he's responding with a different story, saying that I, Yeshua, had lifetimes when I could have been more perfected, but I liked the power better, so I went in the other way. You don't hear about those lives.
Right.
And and he also said, ask your question again.
Sure. I'm just wondering, for those who, for example, they would say that they are a Christian person, but they're not acting really in a Christian way. That is, they aren't truly following his path. What can we say to remind them of Christ's message?
Can't hear what he's saying because I'm too caught up in Jones' anger at those same people. Uh, should we remind them that they're supposed to be Christian, that they're supposed to be following your teachings?
Mhm.
He said, of course, and you can, but you can't change them.
Right, right. It sounds like we should just follow his guidance and act in the way that he would act, by example.
Well, that's when I'm feeling it. I think it's also what he's saying that I didn't start a religion. I didn't write a book. I didn't make a bunch of rules.
Yeah.
I just showed people how to love.
Hmm.
How to love themselves and each other. And I got mad. If you can recall, I did yell at the money changers in the temple.
Yeah.
I was just always sweetness and light.
Hmm.
I've challenged other people too, not just them.
Hmm. So,
But
is
you
it?
want to help the people
Yeah,
that are say manipulative. You can only help them so much. They want to be manipulative.
they really do. Hmm. So, when he turned the tables over at the money lenders, what was he trying to tell us?
Well, they were doing this in the temple, which was the religion where you serve God,
Hmm.
and people had to forget. Maybe I forget. Joan is thinking they had to sell their little animals to get the money, but it was a little more complicated than that, and Joan didn't understand it. Or Ruth didn't. But the the way they were doing it, the attitudes they had were not a part of God. God's not against money.
Yeah.
He's against the way it was not being used to serve God here.
Uh-huh. In our time, there's a great contradiction, a bit of a mess because of the money involved in the religion. How can we live in a place that needs money and still be good people that follow his words?
Well, I think he's saying that's the challenge.
Yeah.
That's, you became people so you could face all of everyone, him too, these, him and other lives, had to face all these quandaries,
Yeah.
all these temptations, all these choices. Everyone goes through that, and people are at different stages in their developments,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there are different, many different lessons to learn.
Yeah. And are there people in our time who are Christ-like? That is, who have the same level of understanding and love as he did?
I'm asking. He says very close, or yes. I mean, they didn't have to do the sacrifice he did, which was himself, but they, yes, many people do love. Among there's 7 billion people on Earth right now,
Yeah.
and well, some are background people, but some are many want to be better people. They
Hmm.
want to be kinder and more loving, and they want to get along with each other.
Hmm. Yeah. Are there any
Even
people?
the ones that are, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You tell me.
Even the ones that are so angry, seem you probably jumping back to what you started with, that people are so angry, but they want to be good.
Hmm.
They just don't know how.
Yeah, I see.
The trick with religion is to find put enough people at high places who are truly good,
Yeah.
just loving, but they need people at high places who are very organized and can manage the money.
Yeah.
It, it's a dilemma that the churches themselves have.
Yes. Are there any churches today that are doing a good job of being good and managing the money?
I think he's saying a lot of them, but in different places, not no one church. Like Joan knows there's a Catholic church. And it's so big and it goes all the way up to the top. Well, that's a lot of different people, a lot of different lessons, a lot of different layers.
Yeah.
But yes, there are many people who are truly good
Yes.
and who uh, they can manage the money
Yeah.
and make sure, it's it's the thing that some of your angry people hate, the word socialism, that to make sure everybody gets what they need.
Yes.
That happens in many places. It's not like a re in any religion, there's not all good and all bad. Although they can gradually become more, say, more dark, more low level,
Yeah.
more taking than giving.
Yeah. Mhm.
But then they can go back to being giving people too. It's not one way or the other.
I see. And within other religions, are there people who follow these loving principles?
Oh, you mean other than Christianity?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think Stone. I think the whole world is. People are trying to be good, and we just have different sets of rules. They're not. There's no religion that says you should be mean and dominate or
Yeah.
be rich.
Yes, that's true. Uh-huh. Good.
That's our natural tendencies. We like to be mean and dominate and be rich.
Yes. Yes, it certainly is. Good. Um, is there any advice he would give to people living today in the times that we live?
I don't know if this is because it's something I think of a lot. Sounds like Joan. Just keep it simple, stupid.
Uh-huh.
Just to be loving.
Just be loving. Hmm.
Yeah. Even, there's a lot of people that need. Ask for what you need,
Hmm. Good.
but also just to share what you have and to it's complicated because there's so many people, so many different kinds of people.
Yes.
We all have our own lessons.
And just ask if he would like to send any other message to humanity at this time before we leave.
Same one I've been sending to humanity forever, he says. And people do have access to him, like you do and I do.
Yeah.
Of just love each other, take care of each other. Yes, you have to take care of yourself and have a career and make money, but you can also take care of the people around you.